Hello again, this is Jake. Today, let's find out together what makes up the blockchain governance. There are four main components. There are consensus algorithms, node structures, governance bodies, and on-chain and off-chain governance. These four factors are essential elements in building blockchain governance, and their impact is great for governance to operate. The first thing I will talk about is consensus algorithm. Depending on the type of consensus algorithm, it is sometimes impossible to build a governance organization. Representatively, there is POW. In order to have someone to vote, you need to know who is going to participate to vote, but there is a problem that POW cannot determine who to grant for voting. This is because it is difficult to specify which nodes will be given voting rights. For example, assuming that the voting schedule has been decided on March 20th, 2022. Countless computers can intentionally create nodes to participate in the vote before the voting date. POW has no restrictions on node participation, so it is an environment where manipulation can happen too easily even if voting is successfully done. Because of this environment, POW is not suitable for building a governance. On the other hand, in the case of PBFT algorithms, nodes with voting rights can be clearly specified because participating nodes are clearly determined. That's why PBFT is an easy environment to establish a governance organization. And usually many projects adopt POS based on PBFT. And in the case of POS, token governance can be constructed around participants who participated in staking tokens. Voting rights are given in response to the amount of token deposited. People who deposits are those who hold tokens for a long time because they usually deposit them for more than a certain period of time. So we can identify the people who participated in staking as groups that have formed interest with the community over a certain period of time. Therefore, it is possible to organize the governance of the token economy centered on those who participated in staking. DPoS is a further reduced version of POS in its number. Since DPoS is a delegated structure, people who are actually delegated authorities by the community make decisions. DPoS has the advantage of being easier to operate governance than POS. On the other hand, democracy weakens because it's delegation structure. As such, each consensus algorithm has effects on the governments. The second component of governance I'm going to talk about is the node structure. Node operators also play a very important role in the blockchain ecosystem. As their role is important, they work with corresponding responsibilities and authority. For example, suppose that we have made a new policy. Let's apply A from now on. When you ask to update a specific function to the next version, node operators must reflect the updates on their computers through code updates. Let's think about the case where the node operator says, "No, I don't like what was decided earlier. I don't agree with it. And obviously, I won't even update it." In this case, there may be cases where decisions cannot be executed even after decisions are made. In fact, there were cases where participants made decisions in EOS project, but the node refused. If the node operator's authority is overwhelmingly strong within the blockchain ecosystem, this kind of incidents could happen easily. Therefore, the node structure can be seen as a fundamental factor in constructing governance. There are cases of creating explicit governance bodies. There are Tezos, and you can also see those cases in Cardano. Protocon will also create a governance body when we open our mainnet. All important decisions regarding the blockchain ecosystem will be discussed and decided here. In general, blockchain governance proceeds in the form of voting. Voting is most commonly used as a structure that leads to a consensus among members. Bitcoin, Ethereum, one of the most represented blockchains, sets the direction of the networks through BIP, EIP, and develop forums and various communities. In addition, various projects are governing the network in different ways. Proposals are raised in the voting agenda and decisions are made within the community through voting are reflected. However, even if the blockchain governance bodies make decisions, even if it doesn't have the final control over the node, there may be cases where the node refuses to update and the updates are not executed. So Tezos has an on-chain governance structure that automatically reflects decisions when the issue is confirmed through voting results. It can be said to be a protocol-operated governance. On-chain governance refers to a form in which governance can be achieved inside the chain without any other elements except for the blockchain network component. Blockchain networks in on-chain governance can be seen as completeness as an independent word. Conversely, if governance is done outside the network and it directly affects the inside of the blockchain network, this form of governance can be said to be off-chain governance. Simply put, on-chain governance takes place within the blockchain. In on-chain governance, developers, users, and node operators all participate evenly, and policy decisions and modifications are made mainly by voting. Off-chain governance is a structure in which consultations outside the blockchain are reflected in the blockchain. On-chain governance has the advantage of increasing community cooperation in that it forms an environment in which various users can continue to participate in the governance process. However, once the decision is made, it is difficult to change it afterwards. This is reasonable in that once reflected in the network based on the irreversibility, which is the core of the blockchain, it cannot be easily modified and changed. But whether it is also the target of hackers' attack by exploiting this point. This is because even if some defects are found in the code, rapid correction cannot be made immediately. Rather, the vulnerability of the network is revealed on the surface, making it difficult to maintain a certain level of security. Nevertheless, in on-chain governance, proposals, decisions, and enforcement work as a single system. So when voting is completed, nodes are automatically updated, minimizing the cases of distorting or not executing voting results. However, on-chain governance is actually very difficult to implement technology, so it is often impossible to develop it. Even if you have a plan, it takes a very long time to implement it. Protocon's goal is to go all the way to constructing on-chain governance.
프로토콘이 궁금하다면 좋아요, 구독, 알림 설정까지.